Hey, what's crackalackin' people? Clocked it here for another video, and this time, yes, it's on the Nintendo 8. Nintendo's next console after the Nintendo Switch, the soon-to-be greatest selling console of all time, and a platform which, has without a doubt seen a staggering amount of quality games and certainly many peak Nintendo games. I haven't really done any videos on Nintendo's next console, because, hand on heart, I've just been sick to death of all the Switch Pro and now Switch 2 rumors that have been utterly relentless and, obviously clearly unfounded throughout all of the Switch's life and, since Crom Dam, like 2018 or something, at least in the social media streets. Putting aside my own initial Switch annoyances, when the console, was first getting off, to keep this video, I suppose, in a happy tone. But, how they didn't fully use the phone app, we had many Wii U ports, obviously Joy-Con drift being the biggest thing, and, and a few others. But, for the last few years, I've been purely trying to enjoy what the Switch has had to offer from a video game point of view, based off its software library. It's become clear now that no matter what others still think, the wider industry and Nintendo know more than they, than we do when it comes to making the right decisions. I suppose, which is an odd thing, for me to say, because, before I talk about, what I'd like from Nintendo's next console, but, let's be honest here, I'm going to be mostly basing my ideas of what we've already had in the past, whilst also hoping, for something new. I ain't no Gunpei Yokai, who can just conjure up crazy things in my head, so yes, the Nintendo 8, as you saw from the intro, this will be Nintendo's 8th home console, and yes, the Switch is Nintendo's 7th home console, which also happens to be a hybrid machine, allowing for the best of both worlds. It's also a 9th gen piece of hardware, which means Nintendo will be the first to start the 10th generation of console hardware. And the way Sony and Microsoft are talking lately, it looks like they'll be joining the 10th generation with new hardware soon at some point anyway. But anyway, do I think Nintendo will call it the Nintendo 8? Of course, I don't think they'll be as generic and as boring as that. They never have been. Do I think they'll build upon the hybrid design of the Switch? Yes, I think it's almost, maybe inevitable, but, would I personally be happy to go back to also like 2 Nintendo platforms again? If it was required? Yes, I would. But anyway, Nintendo 8, Super Nintendo Switch, Switcheroo, whatever the next system will be called, let me discuss what I'd like to see from a new Nintendo system. It's easy to take the docking and undocking of the Switch for granted these days, but it's also easy to forget how amazing it was to see for the first time. But Nintendo have always been like this with their consoles and handhelds, and their unique ideas can and have become industry standards. Even now, we see many people simply wanting a more powerful Nintendo Switch. You know what I say to that? I've long been of the Nintendo mind, where if the big N drops something that no one else is doing in the console market, and that idea initially seems crazy but turns out to be genius, then I'm more for that than a simple power upgrade. Simple power upgrades, can have their purposes, of course, and both Sony and Microsoft do this to the point where their hardware is virtually identical. Let Nintendo drop some madness, I say. Let them do something no one asked for, no one knew they wanted, but when Nintendo explained why, we all go, yo, that's amazing, right? If Nintendo wants to drop a console that straps onto your shoulder like a Super Scope, then let them do it. I'll buy it. If Nintendo wants to drop a console that's shaped like a chair, which you sit in, and then it like electrocutes you every time you get hit by a red shell, then let them do it. I'll buy it. You know, if Nintendo want to drop a console, that's a Johnny Five's life-sized robot, Rob the Robot, you know, which would legit kill you when playing Smash Bros. You know, let them do it. I would still buy it.
You now have 15 seconds to comply.
Yeah, but joking aside, more than anything else in this list, I'll be happy for another unique take on home consoles from Nintendo if it meant giving this industry a continued injection of much needed creativity and originality that others don't dare to do.
The next leap is about playing, because playing is believing.
I love split controllers. You know, ever since the Wiimote and Nunchuck, you know, we might have had other issues, you know, with like the Joy-Cons, you know, but man, you know, I still use them, and being able to hold a controller in a position that best suits you is something, you know, I simply need to continue. You know, but even outside of comfort, you know, as we've seen, split controllers add other ways to play your games through pointer controls, motion controls, and everything else. You know, there's still so many ways to innovate with split controllers. Now, give us ARMS 2 at the next console launch, Nintendo. Make it happen.
The 4-button array of the A, B, X, and Y buttons, made famous by the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Nintendo has innovated with their controllers more than any other company in gaming, and through those innovations, the industry has continued to evolve, thankfully. You know, I done a video before debating whether games can continue to evolve, you know, if the controller input doesn't. And, you know, based on the types of games we have on the likes of the PS5 and series consoles, you know, this generation from their consoles, you know, I stand by my opinion that they can't, or games struggle, you know, to change. But, you know, Nintendo with the likes of the D-pad, shoulder buttons, N64 analog stick, rumble pack, wireless wavebird, GameCube analog triggers, Wiimote and Nunchuck, you know, motion controls, Wii U gamepads, DS touchscreen, etc., etc. You know, Nintendo have always changed the game, and you know, I'd love to see this happen again. So, you know, as a few ideas, give me something like a new type of analog stick. You know, we see like ball controllers, you know, rotating and stuff, or pad, you know, for, you know, controllers, you know, a bit like on like that Steam controller that we saw before and everything. You know, just give us something, you know, that will change the game again, if possible, without obviously completely ruining the type of, you know, games that we do like to play from, you know, our standard series. Another one, you know, evolve the D-pad. The D-pad, you know, was instrumental to everything that we have in the industry today when it comes to game controllers, and it's still on every single controller. But you know, I feel like these days it's now being used more, you know, for menu options and stuff. But hey, if we could find some way to make a new D-pad sensational in a way that we haven't had it before, I'm all for it. You know, I remember also seeing a patent, you know, for scrolling shoulder buttons. You know, like wheel shoulder buttons. You know, that could click in, but also your wheel from left to right. You know, imagine that for like menu things, or like you're turning your characters on a screen, or something. Just, I think I would love something like that on a new controller.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
I've always been a big fan of AR and VR, especially VR, you know, which I still feel is the future of gaming. You know, many companies have attempted VR, and in today's world, even though it's still small, you know, it's in a much better position on a commercial level, I feel. You know, but I still feel like the barrier to entry, especially on PCs and even, you know, consoles, is a little too high for most common folk. and it needs to, I feel like it needs to be a continued focus, push to really cross the line for VR when it remains a separate device to buy on top of your console. If Nintendo made VR and AR their core focus on their new console, hell, even if the console itself was a unit, like the actual console was the VR headset or something, then like with all peripherals or all accessories, if everyone has it as standard, then it's easier for developers to build for it. And of course, VR and AR wise, Nintendo have dabbled for years in this. Naturally for the first game that comes to mind for me would be Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which we just saw. But in VR, I always wanted Metroid in VR. Literally a dream for me. As for AR, this is a market I feel Nintendo could greatly benefit from when it comes to selling products or creating game ideas around it. Not sure about anyone else, but I loved Face Raiders on the 3DS. And I also loved using the Nintendo cards and Kid Icarus cards to bring them to life. It was just so good and just so much fun. But yeah, AR and VR, I'd love it if it was integral to the system. I think, like many companies, relying on third-party companies when it comes to delivering updates, to your fans isn't always the best course of action. Just take Twitter, or bloody X as you call it, as an example. Today, since that douchebag Musk, took over, those of us who supported and owned the Wii U when it came out will always rave about the greatness that was Miiverse and how we'd love for it to come back. There's a real community on that console. Miiverse was more than just a way to connect with other Nintendo fans, so it was also a way for both Nintendo and developers to directly interact with their player base, and it worked wonderfully. Now that we're paying for online subscription with Switch Online, Nintendo should build their own social media platform again. That's accessed directly from their hardware, but also supports a website and a good phone app. So they are completely integral. But also more importantly for us Nintendo console players, it should provide a solid and robust way for us to communicate with our friends. So yes, add in, and bring back, some built-in voice chat feature, or like the good old Nintendo letterbox, or Swapnote, I believe it was called in the US. That the Switch for me has been terrible for communication with my online friends. Yes, we can use our phones and stuff, and yes, they're always there, for us to use. But when it comes, I think, to a home console, there's nothing more personal about having you just connected to the device without needing your phone on the side and doing whatever. I feel like Nintendo are trying to perfect that two-screen gaming experience. It's been part of their DNA since the Game & Watch series of consoles. And of course, we had the super successful DS line of consoles and the attempts on the Wii U. But speaking of the Wii U, and if Nintendo do go the Switch 2 route, how amazing would it be if the Switch 2 could be held in portable mode, but also project, stream a second screen onto the TV somehow with zero latency, just like the Wii U gamepad had. That way, two-screen gaming could return, but in a form factor that clearly people liked more than the Wii U gamepad, which many class as like a Fisher-Price, looking toy. Yet to me, that thing was way, way comfier than holding the Switch handheld, in my opinion. And also for me and my family life, still being able to play games without the need for the TV has allowed me to continue to play games, as many games as I currently do, which is still, way less than I used to play, many years ago. Curse family life, curse it. Remember the days where consoles were rife with accessories, whether it be arcade guns, dance mats, bongos, power gloves, fishing rods, etc, etc. I'd love for Nintendo to pump out some weird accessories, even if they are designed for just a few games, like a Donkey Kong or Jungle Beat with the bongos, just something that enhances this new console beyond what it's originally designed for, and provides Nintendo and developers with other fun tools to get creative with. So yeah, give me a Super Scope 2 Nintendo. Give it to me, because like as an example, the gun game in Nintendo Labo, can't remember the name of it at the moment, as much as I love it, it was amazing, especially in VR. My god, that was such a good game. So yeah, I'd love some really integral accessories for it, which I suppose could fall in line with the VR and AR thing, but I want the VR and AR thing to actually literally be integral to the system.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
And finally, I want to try and think of 8 new IPs that could come to Nintendo's next console, which I would love. I was going to do 8 sequels we have yet to have, like my typical F-Zero and Wave Races desires, or a new 3D Donkey Kong, etc. But I thought this would be more fun, just to try and think of some unique ideas, unique new IPs that Nintendo could have going into the next generation or through the next generation. Number 1, Hyrule Olympics. I've always wanted Hyrule Olympics. Give me horseback racing, Zora swimming, Goron rolling races, Hyrule Knight sword fighting, Gerudo archery. Man, the list can just go on and on and on. And just make it online, have all these events. It'd just be, come on, in the land of Hyrule with all these different species of stuff, it'd just be so good, so good. I stole this idea from my other YouTube friend, Legend of Retro.
I'm gonna fucking flip out.
But we both love Theatrhythm, which was on the Nintendo DS, and it's on the Nintendo Switch as well now. But how about a Nintendo Theatrhythm and do a collab with Square? That'd be so good. Nintendo songs of the rhythm game for me in that Theatrhythm style. I'd love it. Make it happen. Number 3, in one older video when I was talking about the captures in Mario Odyssey, give me that Pokio game. Pokio was a cool character. His gameplay ideas could work so well in the game. I've done a whole video on it. Watch it. Give me a Pokio game from Nintendo.
My dear Alex, I will always be at your side.
Number 4, I'm going to call it Eternal Souls. Now, I love Eternal Darkness on the GameCube. It's one of my favorite GameCube games, one of my favorite horror games. But you know what could probably take that series to another level and change it in a way that could probably really greatly benefit Nintendo with the current trends? Work with From Software on Eternal Souls. Set it in the Eternal Darkness universe. You'll have ancient gods to fight, undead demons, old gladiators, just everything. Just pump it all in there and make an exclusive Souls game for Nintendo using the Eternal Darkness IP. There, I said it. Make it happen. Be amazing. Number 5, I want a Nintendo Battle Cards. I call it Nintendo Battle Cards, where it's more like Warcraft's Hearthstone, your battles game. But what I would do with this one is also bring in this whole AR idea that I had with all these Nintendo cards, and you would use the AR system to bring it to life and have them fight, maybe like, a bit like an augmented, Pokemon battle card system, but have it with all Nintendo characters, kind of like what we see in Smash Bros, with the spirits and stuff, just all these great Nintendo characters that can battle each other in a online and local great card game, battle card game system. Yeah, I'd love it myself, and I would buy all the cards. Can I be a sucker? Number 6 is an idea that I've wanted probably since the GameCube, but more since the Xbox 360 when I started playing Mass Effect. But I want a F-Zero effect. Now, yes, I know we haven't had a new F-Zero racing game yet, but I'm talking about a brand new take separately on the F-Zero IP. But have it but in the F-Zero universe, put it in Mute City, you play as Captain Falcon, and you're the bounty hunter going around this city. You got this epic adventure, but it's got like multiple choice, like Mass Effect, great cover shooting systems, You know, maybe a bit of romance and stuff in there, epic battles, and you could have a one or two moments where you do get in a race and chase someone through Moot City that you're hunted as a bounty hunter. Man, that would be a massive budget game, and I say give it to Retro Studios. Let them do something different after Prime 4 and make this amazing single player F-Zero adventure. I'd love it. That's like, it's never going to happen, but I love it. Number 7. I wasn't sure about this because I don't love the series, but I think if it turned into Nintendo Hearts instead of Kingdom Hearts, and we had Nintendo characters and Disney characters, I never understood why Square characters are there with Disney characters. It just made no sense in my head. I'm not knocking Kingdom Hearts, but it just never made any sense. A perfect crossover would be Nintendo and Disney doing a Nintendo Hearts. Why hasn't this happened? I've done a video before about why haven't we had more collaborations with Nintendo and Disney. I don't know why it doesn't happen. Why doesn't it happen? I don't know. I mean, Disney today, yeah, boo, but give it to Nintendo to develop. They work their magic on it. And number 8, finally, I think I came up with this last minute. I love Hades. I love Super Giant games. Let's get a Medusa. We can't call it Hades, but we're going to call it Medusa, and it's going to be based off the Kid Icarus IP, but a roguelite like Hades. You play as Pit, and you have to get to the end. Medusa's there, and maybe even Hades is there in the Kid Icarus Hades form. But you'd have all these other gods and bosses there as you go. I think that would be a great, unique IP for Nintendo with a great developer. So yeah, Medusa / Hades from Super Giant Games. Make it happen.
Oh, Pit, keep eating hamburgers and you'll turn into one.
Long video, lot of ideas. That's my Nintendo 8. I'm long past. I know Nintendo, power-wise, will be stepping it up a bit with their next console. They're going to, you know. And I'm at the point now where I do agree that, yeah, we've had the Wii U, we've had the Switch, and they stayed in, you know, similar power ranges, you know, and similar graphical ranges. You know, and it's been a long time, so I do feel like now, yeah, we need that new step up. So, and now we can actually, you know, take some of our IPs, especially like Monolith Soft and and all the Zeldas and stuff. They can go even that step further where we want to see them go. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I probably won't do another Nintendo video now unless some crazy official news comes out from Nintendo on their next console. But until then, let me know your thoughts on my ideas. Let me know your ideas and wants, whether you like my ideas or not, or any new ones, whatever. Thanks for listening. Take care all, and peace.